and means welcoming each other, recognizing each other as equal in diversity.
Seorang penyair abad 20 menggunakan sebuah ungkapan yang sangat indah untuk menggambarkan sikap ini. Seorang penyair, dia menulis bahwa menjadi saudara dan saudari artinya mencintai satu sama lain dengan mengakui bahwa masing-masing pribadi sama berbedanya seperti dua tetes air. Nulla due volte accade, itu dalam buku tersebut.
This too is a value dear to the Indonesian Church and is made manifest through the openness which you address the various internal and external realities encountered on a cultural, ethnic, and social as religious level. In particular, your local church values contribution of all and generously offers assistance to every setting. This is important, brothers and sisters, because proclaiming the gospel does not mean imposing our faith or placing it in opposition to that of others. It does not mean proselytizing, but it means giving. It is always with great respect, and in this I invite you to continue always being open and friends to all. I like this very much. Hand in hand. We should go hand in hand together. As Father Maxi said, we are prophets, and we must continue together. And I would like to say something. Do you know who is the most important person? Who does most of the dividing? The greatest person who divides all, Jesus brings together, is the devil. Be careful. The Pope inviting the translation in Bahasa.
Tidak ada dua tetes air yang sama. Tidak juga dua saudara atau saudari, bahkan saudara kembar pun sama sekali tidak identik. Menghidupi persaudaraan karenanya berarti menyambut satu sama lain, mengakui satu sama lain sebagai sederajat di dalam perbedaan. Nilai ini pun akrab dengan gereja Indonesia dan diperlihatkan melalui keterbukaan yang dengannya kalian semua menunjukkan beragam kenyataan dari dalam dan luar yang dijumpai pada tingkatan budaya, etnik, sosial, dan agama. Secara khusus, gereja setempat menghargai sumbangsi dari semua orang dan dengan murah hati menawarkan bantuan dalam setiap situasi. Ini penting, karena mewartakan Injil bukan berarti memaksakan iman kita untuk mempertentangkannya atau mempertentangkannya dengan orang lain, iman orang lain. Dilarang untuk melakukan proselitisme. Selalu dengan sikap penghargaan yang besar dan kasih sayang persaudaraan untuk semua orang. Ya, saya terkesan dengan satu sikap, yaitu saling bergandengan tangan, seperti yang tadi diungkapkan oleh Romo Maxi. Nabi-nabi persatuan di dalam dunia ketika tendensi untuk memecah belah, memaksa dan memprovokasi satu sama lain kelihatannya terus-menerus meningkat. Dan satu hal yang beliau tambahkan secara spontan, kamu tahu apa yang mempunyai kepentingan atau apa yang memecah belahkan, apa yang meruntuhkan. Semua itu tentu saja adalah kerja setan. Jadi berhati-hati.
Cosa ti ha fatto ridere?
What has made you laugh? The translator was trying to say some of the things the Pope said of CAP. It is important to try to reach everyone, as Sister Rina reminded us in her testimony. When she spoke of the church importance of translating in Bahasa Indonesia in order to make the text accessible to many people as possible. Nicholas also pointed out the need to reach everyone, describing the mission of the catechist with the image of a bridge. This struck me and made me think of a wonderful vision in the great Indonesia archipelago of thousands of bridges of the heart uniting all the islands, and even more, millions of such bridges uniting all the people who live there. Another beautiful image of fraternity would be an immense tapestry of threads of love that cross the sea, across barriers, embracing all diversity, making everyone one heart and one soul. The language of the heart is very important.
Kita tadi sudah diingatkan oleh Suster Rina, penting untuk mencoba menjangkau setiap orang. Mengenai hal ini diharapkan bahwa tidak hanya teks-teks sabda Allah tapi juga ajaran-ajaran gereja diterjemahkan ke dalam bahasa Indonesia agar dapat dijangkau oleh sebanyak mungkin orang. Nicholas juga menunjukkan perlunya menjangkau setiap orang, seraya melukiskan misi seorang katekis dengan perumpamaan jembatan yang menyatukan. Hal ini menyentuh saya dan membuat saya berpikir tentang visi indah di dalam negara kepulauan Indonesia yang luas, yang terdiri dari ribuan jembatan hati yang menyatukan semua pulau dan bahkan jutaan lagi jembatan yang menyatukan semua orang yang hidup di sana. Perumpamaan indah lainnya tentang persaudaraan adalah sebuah permadani besar dari benang cinta yang melintasi lautan, mengatasi rintangan-rintangan dan merangkul semua perbedaan, membuat semua orang menjadi sehati dan sejiwa. Beliau tekankan jembatan kasih.
We come now to the third word, compassion, which is very close to fraternity. We know that compassion does not, compassion is more than just sharing sentiments. As we know, compassion does not consist only giving alms or to needy brothers and sisters while looking down on them from a tower to our own security, of our own security and success. On the contrary, compassion consists of drawing us close to one another, removing everything that can prevent us from stooping down to touch those on the ground, lifting them up and giving them hope.
Sekarang kita sampai pada kata ketiga, bela rasa, yang sangat terkait erat dengan persaudaraan. Kita tahu bahwa bela rasa tidak dibatasi saja pada memberi sedekah kepada saudara dan saudari yang membutuhkan, sambil memandang rendah mereka dari menara rasa aman dan keberhasilan kita. Sebaliknya, bela rasa berarti mendekatkan kita satu dengan yang lain, menghapuskan segala sesuatu yang menghalangi kita untuk turun menyentuh mereka yang ada di bawah, mengangkat mereka dan memberikan mereka harapan. Bandingkan Fratelli Tutti 70. Terlebih, bela rasa berarti merangkul mimpi dan hasrat mereka akan kebebasan dan keadilan, memelihara mereka, mendukung mereka sambil melibatkan orang lain, memperluas jaring dan batas-batasan untuk menciptakan kekuatan kasih yang luas dan besar.
This is important. We need to touch poverty. When
domando sempre,
I wrong someone, I always ask,
tu dai elemosina?
or when I give confession, I always ask people, do you give
Ma la seconda domanda,
to the poor?
tu quando dai l'elemosina,
When you give to the poor, do you touch the people you are giving? Do you touch their hands?
tu li guardi agli occhi?
Do you look at the hands of those you are helping, or you help them from afar?
Questa è una cosa che dobbiamo imparare tutti.
This is something that we all need to learn.
Passione
When we are giving alms,
significa
giving
soffrire,
compassion
accompagnare
means
nei
to
sentimenti a
accompany
quello che sta soffrendo.
and to be with the person who is suffering, to embrace them, not to give from afar.
Non solo, vuol dire
Moreover, it means
abbracciarne
embracing
i sogni,
the dreams
e desideri
and
di
desires
giustizia,
for freedom and justice,
prendersene cura,
taking
farsi
care
promotore,
of them,
cooperatori,
supporting them,
agendo
while
anche
also
altri,
involving
allargando le
others,
rete e i confini
widening the
di un
net
grande
and the
dinamismo
boundaries
espansivo
to
di
create a
carità.
great
E
expansive
questo non vuol dire
dynamism
essere
of charity.
comunista.
This
Questo
does not
vuol
mean you
dire
are a
carità.
communist. It
Vuol
means
dire amore.
charity. It means love.
Adalah penting untuk menyentuh orang-orang kecil atau kaum miskin. Ketika saya mendengarkan pengakuan, saya biasanya bertanya kepada orang, apakah dia atau orang itu pernah memberikan sedekah kepada orang miskin? Itu pertanyaan yang pertama. Lalu yang kedua, pertanyaannya, apakah dia juga menyentuh tangan orang yang meminta? Beliau ingin mengatakan bahwa kita tidak hanya memberi, tetapi juga bersentuhan langsung dengan yang meminta, kaum miskin, memandang ke dalam mata mereka. Itulah yang dikatakan tadi sebagai mengembangkan jaringan kasih.
C'è chi ha paura della compassione.
There are those who are afraid of compassion.
Persone che hanno paura della
They are
compassione,
just afraid of
che
compassion
la considera
because they consider it
debolezza.
a weakness.
Soffrire con altri una debolezza.
Suffering with others is seen as a weakness.
Esalta invece come se
Instead,
fosse una virtù la
They
scadenza.
champion, as it were, a virtue of shrewdness of those who serve their own interests by keeping the distance from everyone, by not letting themselves be touched by anything or anyone, thus thinking they are more lucid and free in achieving their goals.
Purtroppo io raccordo
Unfortunately,
molto ricca, ricchissima a Buenos Aires,
where in Buenos Aires,
ma che aveva il vizio di
I met many people who were very rich, but always were taking more money.
è morto.
And this person I knew died
Un'eredità enorme.
and left big inheritance.
Voi sapete quali erano le scherzi che facevano la gente?
Do you know what jokes people used to say?
Non hanno potuto chiudere la bara. Voleva prendersene tutto.
They say that he couldn't close the casket because he wanted to take with him
Ada juga
the riches
orang-orang
that he
yang
had on
takut
earth.
dengan bela rasa karena mereka menganggapnya sebuah kelemahan. Sebaliknya, mereka menjunjung tinggi seakan-akan sebuah keutamaan kelicikan mereka yang melayani kepentingan diri mereka sendiri dengan menjaga jarak dari semua orang dan tidak membiarkan diri mereka disentuh oleh apapun dan oleh siapapun. Jadi mereka berpikir bahwa mereka lebih cerdas dan bebas dalam mencapai tujuan-tujuan mereka. Ini adalah cara yang salah dalam melihat realitas. Beliau memberikan sebuah contoh. Di Argentina, di Buenos Aires, beliau mengenal seorang yang kaya, yang selalu ingin menerima dari orang, mengeruk kekayaan melalui orang lain. Lalu orang-orang sekitarnya membuat sebuah lelucon mengatakan, anak yang malang, orang yang malang, karena dia begitu ingin mendapat dari yang lain, tetapi kemudian tidak bisa menutup peti jenazahnya sendiri.
Fa ridere così. Ma non dimenticate una cosa.
Do not forget one thing.
Il diavolo
The devil
entra dalle tasche.
enters through the
Setan
pocket
selalu
always.
ada di dalam saku kita.
È vero?
Apakah Anda percaya?
Questo di avere delle ricchezze come sicurezza
This
è un modo falso di guardare
is a false way of looking at reality, wanting to have more riches.
il mondo.
What
Non sono i calcoli di interesse che finiscono in
What keeps the world going
discorsi
is not the
delle
calculations
altre delle
or self-interest, which generally end up destroying creation and dividing communities,
e la
but offering charity to others. Compassion does not cloud the true vision of life. On the contrary, it makes us see things better in light of love.
meglio le cose con gli occhi del cuore.
We see things better with the eyes
Yang
of the
membuat
heart.
dunia bergerak maju bukanlah perhitungan kepentingan pribadi yang umumnya berujung pada kerusakan ciptaan dan pemecah belahan komunitas, tetapi mempersembahkan kasih kepada sesama. Bela rasa tidak menggelapkan visi kehidupan yang sejati. Sebaliknya, bela rasa membuat kita mampu melihat pelbagai hal lebih baik dalam terang kasih. Secara spontan beliau mengatakan, kita melihat realitas dengan baik hanya dengan mata hati.
E vorrei ripeterlo, per favore.
I would like to repeat something. Please be careful. Do not forget,
Diavolo entra dalle
the devil enters through the
Oleh karena
pocket.
itu, tolong jangan lupa, setan selalu ada di dalam saku.
In proposito, il portale di questa cattedrale nella sua architettura
In this regard, the architecture of the cathedral's main entrance, with its Marian focus, sums up very well
al centro
what we have said. At the center of the pointed arc is a pillar on which there is a statue of the Virgin Mary. It thus shows us that the Mother of God is above all the model of faith, but she also symbolically supports the entire edifice of the church through her humble yes to God's plan. Yet, the pillar represents Christ, and the humble woman standing on that pillar seemingly bears with him the weight of the whole building, as if to say, in the end, the humble labor and ingenuity cannot support itself. Mary therefore appears as an image of fraternity, a gesture of welcome in the middle of the main entrance of all those who wish to enter. She is the mother that embraces. Finally, she is also an icon of compassion, watching over and protecting God's people who wish with their joys and sorrows, labors and hopes, gather in the Father's house. She is the mother of compassion.
Berkaitan dengan ini, kita melihat arsitektur pintu masuk utama katedral ini dengan titik berat pada corak Marianya, merangkum dengan baik apa yang telah kita katakan tadi. Di pusat lengkungan yang menunjuk ke atas, terdapat pilar yang di atasnya ada patung perawan Maria. Hal ini menunjukkan kepada kita bahwa Bunda Allah di atas segala-galanya adalah teladan iman. Tetapi dia juga secara simbolis menopang seluruh bangunan gereja melalui ya-nya yang sahaja terhadap rencana Allah. Tubuhnya yang rapuh, yang diletakkan di atas pilar, di atas batu wadas yang adalah Kristus sendiri, seolah memikul beban seluruh bangunan bersamanya, seolah-olah mau mengatakan pada akhirnya bahwa karya manusia dan kecerdasan manusia tidak dapat mendukung dirinya sendiri. Oleh karena itu, Maria dalam hal ini tampil sebagai citra persaudaraan, sebagai sikap yang menyambut di tengah pintu masuk utama kepada mereka semua yang ingin masuk. Akhirnya Bunda Maria juga merupakan sebuah ikon bela rasa yang mengawasi dan melindungi umat Allah yang dalam suka dan duka mereka bekerja dan berharap yang berkumpul di rumah Bapa.
Cari fratelli e sorelle,
Dear brothers and sisters,
mi piace concludere
I would like to conclude these reflections
prendendo ciò che San
by
Giovanni Paolo
respecting what St. John Paul II said,
decennio sono, ha
addressing
detto proprio rivolgendosi ai vescovi,
the bishops,
sacerdoti,
clergy,
religiosi.
and religious during his
Citava il
visit
versetto
here
del Salmo,
several decades ago.
Insule multe.
Quoting from the Psalms, Leitentu insule multe,
Invitava i suoi
let the
ascoltatori
many islands rejoice.
rendendo
He invited those listening
alla gioia
to
della
put into
resurrezione
practice
e dando la vita
by bearing witness to the joy of the resurrection and in giving
gioire
your life so that even the most distant islands may rejoice at hearing the gospel, of which you are the authentic preachers, teachers, and witnesses.
Vi rinnovo questa
I
esortazione.
too renew this exhortation and encourage you
La vostra missione
to continue your mission
nella fede
by being strong in faith, open to all in fraternity,
e vicini a
and
ciascuno
close to one another in compassion.
forti, aperti e vicini. Con la fortezza della fede,
Strong and
l'apertura
open
per accogliere tutti,
to
tutti.
welcome
A
everyone.
me, stai attento, a me colpisce tanto
For me,
quella storia del Vangelo.
the story of the
Gli
gospel,
invitati a nozze non hanno voluto venire,
when those who were invited to the wedding didn't want to go.
non sono venuti. E cosa fa il Signore?
What did the
Si
Lord do?
amareggia? No, ha
He was not
capito
discouraged.
quell'uomo e manda i suoi
He
davanti
sent
alle incroci delle strade.
his people to the streets.
Tutti,
Bring
tutti,
everyone,
tutti
everyone,
dentro.
everyone into the wedding
Dentro, con
feast.
questa cosa tanto bella che andare avanti con la fratellanza, con
Let us go forward with fraternity
l'unità.
and compassion and unity.
E penso io a tante isole, no?
I think of the many islands
Che il Signore dice alla gente buona, a voi,
and the Lord says,
tutti, ma quello è
come,
tutti,
even those from the distant islands come,
buoni e cattivi,
even
tutti.
the bad and the good. He invites them.
Yang terkasih, saya ingin menutup refleksi ini dengan mengulangi apa yang Santo Yohanes Paulus II katakan ketika memberikan sambutan kepada para uskup, klerus, dan biarawan-biarawati selama kunjungannya di sini beberapa puluh tahun yang lalu. Mengutip ayat berikut ini dari kitab Mazmur 97 ayat 1, Letentur insule multe, yang berarti biarlah banyak pulau bersuka cita. Beliau mengundang para pendengarnya untuk melaksanakannya dengan menjadi saksi sukacita kebangkitan dan melalui pemberian diri demikian sehingga bahkan pulau-pulau yang paling jauh pun dapat bersukacita karena mendengar Injil yang mana Anda semua adalah para pewarta, para guru, dan saksi-saksi yang otentik. Saya juga ingin membaharui ajakan ini dan saya mendorong Anda untuk meneruskan misi Anda dengan menjadi kuat dalam iman, terbuka kepada semua dalam persaudaraan, dan dekat dengan satu dengan yang lain dalam bela rasa. Saya memberkati Anda dan berterima kasih kepada Anda semua atas semua hal baik yang Anda lakukan pada hari ini. Beliau menekankan kembali pentingnya ketiga nilai yang dibawa sebagai moto dan menekankan kembali sikap inklusivitas semua nilai-nilai yang beliau tekankan lagi, persaudaraan, bela rasa, ya semua, karena di sini banyak pulau.
Anche io vi rinnovo questa esortazione.
I would like to renew
Coraggio a continuare
this exhortation and encourage you
forti nella fede,
to continue your mission by being strong in faith, open to all in fraternity, and close to one another in compassion. Faith, fraternity, and compassion. 3 words that I leave with you. Think about them later. Faith, fraternity, and compassion. I bless you and thank you all for all the many good things you do each day in this lovely island. I'll pray for you. I pray and ask you please to pray for me. And pray in favor and not against.
Jadi sebenarnya sudah diterjemahkan tadi, beliau membaharui ajakannya dengan menekankan 3 hal sebagai moto kunjungan beliau pada hari ini. Secara khusus beliau tekankan kuat dalam iman, terbuka kepada semua dalam persaudaraan, dan dekat dengan satu sama lain dalam sikap atau bela rasa. Jadi beliau tekankan lagi, iman, persaudaraan, dan bela rasa. Ketiga hal ini ingin saya tinggalkan untuk Anda kalian semua. Terima kasih untuk segala sesuatu, semua kerja yang Anda lakukan, dan jangan lupa berdoa untuk saya. Tetapi berdoa dengan senang hati. Ya.
And that is the Holy Father's address to the bishops, religious, and catechists, seminarians here in the Cathedral of the Assumption in Jakarta, Indonesia. A very lively Holy Father there, making impromptu remarks as well. And the Master of Ceremony is now inviting to pray the Holy Mary. Rather, the Hail Mary.
Ave Maria, ognuno nella propria lingua. Ave Maria.
And the Pope inviting everyone to praying the Hail Mary in their own language.
Tu sei benedetta fra le donne e benedetto è il frutto del tuo. Santa Maria, Madre. Domino vobiscum. Sit nomen Domini benedictum. Aiuterium nostrum in nomine Domini. Benedicat vos, omnipotens Deus, Pater, et Filius, et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.
And so with that blessing, concluding this meeting.
Congregations are allowed to sit. As the last session of our meeting, there will be 2 photo sessions of the Holy Fathers with the bishops attending this event. In the first session, we would like to invite the President Bishops of the Indonesian Bishop Conference and the Emeritus Bishop of Indonesia and some other bishops who have been assigned for the photo session.
So the Master of Ceremony is there, inviting for the bishops for a photo session with the Holy Father in the cathedral. After he just addressed the bishops, lay, catechists, the priests, consecrated men and women.
you for the bishops. The second session, we would like to invite all the bishops coming from Asia and Australia, and the rest of the bishops to come forward and take a photo with the Holy Father.
And during this address, the Holy Father applauding Indonesia for religious tolerance. And in fact, that's one of the key elements of Pope Francis's visit. He would like to highlight and encourage that reputation of Indonesia as a country of religious intolerance. Just in case you are listening from home on your radio, what is happening right now is the Holy Father is taking pictures with the bishops. First, he just finished a round of pictures with bishops from Indonesia, and now pictures with the bishops who have come from other Asian countries and Australia for this visit of the Holy Father.
The Holy Father will leave the church, the cathedral, and heading to Graha Muda. We express our sincere gratitude for his visit, prayers, and encouraging words given to us. Let us now stand and give love.
Pope Francis now leaving the cathedral, and the Master of Ceremonies inviting everybody to be upstanding as the Holy Father, on a wheelchair, leaves the cathedral to the next event, the Scholars Operante event, where the Holy Father will meet a number of young people who belong to this international organization or movement of extensive education, which he himself started in Buenos Aires in the year 2001. We hope you'll be able to join us. This event should be starting shortly after this one. You'll be able to join us for that event, Pope Francis meeting the young people. As we saw at the beginning when the Holy Father was coming in, the Pope greeting, many hands outstretched to him as he's going outside the cathedral. And right now just having a word with one of the assistants there who are on his entourage. And we saw the Holy Father really linking up the theme, the motto of this visit in Indonesia, faith, the motto of the apostolic visit to Indonesia. He managed to link every word in his address to the religious, the bishops, and all those, the catechists as well. very much in high spirits, Pope Francis, today. And now some of the children of the cathedral greeting the Holy Father, Pope Francis, as he is leaving and making his way to the Graha Muda, which is where the meeting of the scholars of Orantes will happen. So with those pictures of Pope Francis greeting the children, my name is Father Paul Samasumo, and that brings us to the end of our extended coverage of Pope Francis in Indonesia. Join us in the next event. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praise be Jesus Christ.
Kacau. Siap. Kotak ini aja ya. Towernya atas dong. Tower atas kelihatan ya. Oke. Tower sampai atas kelihatan ya. Oke, boleh. Lojek ya, Mas? Bisa bilang nggak kenal. Oh, iya, aku harus. Iya, harus. Besok mana? Di sekarang kalau mau upload jangan aku apa perasaannya setelah Dunia kenalan dulu dong ya dari nama dan mobil.
Halo, saya Romo Didi OSC. Saya mengikuti audiensi dengan Bapak Diki. Sungguh kesempatan berharga, menjadi anugerah bagi saya juga untuk bisa hadir ini bisa bertatap muka langsung dengan Paus. Satu hal yang berkesan bagi saya dan juga berkesan bagi kita semua adalah bagaimana kita bisa menjadi jembatan hati dalam persaudaraan kita dalam konteks Indonesia ini. Semoga kita semua umat Katolik Indonesia masing-masing menjadi jembatan hati di negeri kita tercinta ini. Tuhan memberkati.
untuk mengatur dipersilakan melakukan foto bersama untuk guru.
Everyone here knows, even all international people is here. Barika Hasan. To show to the world below, we have one. Yes? Yes? No. Please, yes. Please. Follow me. Up to the end. Yes. Okay. Okay. We are. So please.
In this atmosphere that we create all together, waiting for the Holy Father.
We can continue. Okay. You are ready? So, your name? Duha. Duha. And remember yours. Nadia. Which school? Nadia. And yours? Okay. Yours too. Okay. Perfect. So, last song or last minutes
Before we receive our dear Pope Franciscus, you have to make all these people sing. We have to create like one sound, okay?
Sebelumnya teman-teman tahu lagu
Laudetur Jesus Christus, praise be Jesus Christ. Welcome to the continued coverage of Pope Francis's visit to Indonesia. The Pope had just finished meeting with bishops, priests, sisters, catechists, seminarians, and soon after the meeting, will now arrive here to meet students who are part of the Scholars Ocurantes movement. The Pope is meeting these young people here in Graha Muda Youth House in Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. Graha Muda is a house to the first community of Scholars Ocurantes in Southeast Asia. More about that later. I'm Father Paul Samasumo, and it's a joy for me to be with you for this event of Pope Francis' continued apostolic visit to Indonesia. Allow me to extend our special welcome to our partner television and radio broadcasters of EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Networks in America, Luminous Radio in India, Shalom TV India, and Sunday Shalom. Then there is also Shalom World TV, Catholic TV. To those of you following us on YouTube or on Vatican News website, perhaps you are tuned in to Vatican News social media channels, Facebook and others. Welcome.
No.
To those of you following the Pope on shortwave radio frequencies, to our Catholic national and radio stations, or whatever media you are catching us on, so glad you could be with us here for Pope Francis's visit to Indonesia. Right now, what you are seeing are some of the young people there from the Scholars Ocurantes movement as we await Pope Francis to come through to the Scholars Ocurantes Graha Muda complex. The young people Pope Francis will meet from various islands, schools, and religions even. Most of them are connected to the Scholars Ocurantes movement founded by Pope Francis himself when he was the Archbishop of Buenos Aires in 2001. Let's just listening to what they are saying on stage.
Kita mengundang siapa saja di ruangan ini, semua Bapak Ibu tamu undangan.
Kalau ada yang ingin berpartisipasi bersama adik-adik untuk
You may just be asking or wondering what exactly the Scholars Ocurantes movement all about. Well,
So, do we have
basically, Scholars Ocurantes is an international,
one?
not-for-profit movement or organization created by Pope Francis. We could say the organization is now a global education project of networks of centers around the world. As I did say, started in 2001 by Pope Francis himself when he was Archbishop of Buenos Aires in Argentina. The Scholars Ocurantes works with young people in more than 190 countries to educate them in the culture of encounter. This is done by engaging them in education, art, and sport.
I don't find anything here. They were pointing, but no. No.
One of the things, for example, that the Scholars Ocurantes did during the COVID-19 pandemic was to come together, and they literally summoned hundreds of students from 60 cities around the world to participate in the first World Youth Cyber Meeting on COVID-19 in order to listen to their views and just let them share their feelings and experiences to create that space of meeting and encounter, as well as a reflection of what was then a very difficult situation. In Indonesia, the Scholars Ocurantes movement collaborates also with the Ministry of Education. So it's about this culture of encounter, young people coming together through sports, art, education, to engage in diverse with others from diverse cultures.
buat kakak-kakak kita yang sangat luar biasa.
Anytime now, the Holy Father is going to come through to this Graha Muda complex, and he is going to have an exchange with the young people.
Satu bahasa kita, tanah air pasti jaya untuk selama-lamanya. Indonesia pusaka, nusa bangsa dan bahasa kita bela bersama.
Terima kasih banyak serikandi-serikandi kita hari ini.
Wait. So, I love saying so. So, can you explain me? I come from far, far away. From the south to the south. Okay.
I think this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
Okay. So, please, now you can return to your seats. Thank you. So, I will call
the Master of Ceremonies there, keeping things a bit lively as they wait for the Holy Father to come through.
So, now we can say, Iqbal,
kita bisa bilang bahwa
that the Holy Father
Pope Francis
is in the third floor.
sudah ada di lantai bawah.
This is the fourth.
Dan kita ada di lantai 4 ya teman-teman. Beliau sudah ada di lantai 3.
He's not here. He's in the third. So, in the third, he's participating in a short documentary that Scholas is doing.
Jadi di lantai 3, selain bertemu dengan kita nantinya, beliau sekarang tengah bertemu dengan tim film dokumentari yang dilakukan oleh tim Scholas.
make like this is I want to walk with you. My mom teach me to walk a lot.
Okay. And then?
So now...
What's the project's called?
The project's Aldeas. Villages. So now we have to make silence because they are recording for a film.
Jadi saat ini kita harus diam, teman-teman, membuat suasana yang sedikit tenang karena mereka sedang melakukan perekaman film di bawah.
We can't use the mics.
Kita nggak bisa pakai mic. Terakhir, air terjun.
So, silence.
And that was the Mass of Ceremonies explaining what the Holy Father is currently doing. This complex that is around this place has many activities and many things happening. And this Graha Muda is the house that the young people from the various schools and universities gather to do art, education, music. We saw earlier on some of them, they are putting up a performance for the people who are gathered, eagerly waiting for Pope Francis to come through. We were just sharing with you about earlier on, Pope Francis just finished meeting with the bishops and the religious of Indonesia, as well as the catechists and the seminarians, and he was actually in good form. He was actually in good form as he joked with the people there, the priests and the catechists, and spoke a lot off the cuff. I'm sure you have been looking and seeing right in the screen there a piece of art. The Pope is going to be referring to that piece of art that has been realized by the young people of the scholars Ocurantes. Once again, as I was saying, the Scholars Ocurantes is a very interesting movement that actually, I'm sure even Pope Francis himself, when he was starting it probably for Buenos Aires. He probably didn't imagine that one day it would even have pontifical status as it does now, and has spread to over 190 countries. And actually, to propagate some of the ideas that are underlying this trip here to Indonesia of fraternity and encouraging Indonesia as a center of encounter. The scholars Ocurantes themselves place great emphasis on culture of encounter. And they do this by engaging the young people and in education, through art and sports. I was just saying earlier on that in Indonesia, the scholars Ocurantes, and in many other countries, they collaborate with the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology. And they have also the support of the Global 5P movement, which is governed by 5 fundamental principles of peace, prosperity, people, planet, and partnership. The program trains mostly university-age students and young teachers in the Scholars Ocurantes methodology, which they then take to their own communities and they try and replicate this idea of embracing diversity, the culture of encounter. All in all, the organization's network is about building bridges. And in his address to the religious earlier on, Pope Francis focused a lot on the idea of building bridges, especially as we know that Indonesia is a country of many islands. So he was talking about building bridges of the heart. "20 years on, the Scholars of Corantes that started in Buenos Aires is now of pontifical right, with offices in Argentina, the Vatican City, Colombia, Spain, Haiti, Italy, Mexico, Mozambique, Panama, Paraguay, Portugal, Romania, Japan, and Chile. Practically everywhere. So when the Pope comes, he's going to be welcomed here in the Graha Muda Youth House by the Scholars of Corantes leaders. And there are also about 100 children from the Archdiocese of Jakarta who are also here. Those two children, from them, they will welcome the Holy Father before he reaches his seat. Was also referring earlier on to the cultural art there, to the artwork that you saw in your screen a little bit earlier. Inside this polyhedron, which has the sculpture with many faces. It is an artistic sculpture which was realized by the Scholars Oculantes community with the participation of more than 1,500 young people who came from Jakarta, Lombok, Labuan, Bayo, and Bali. And inside this polyhedron, perhaps the Holy Father will have time to go inside there and see for himself some of the artwork that have been realized by all these 1,500 young people. An amazing piece of art. It's just a way of bringing everybody and making everybody's art matter. And these are themes that are quite important to the Holy Father, Pope Francis himself. You might be interested in knowing something about the religious context of Indonesia, the country that the Holy Father is visiting. It has a population of around 276 million inhabitants, and Indonesia is the most populous Muslim country in the world. Islam is professed by almost 90% of the population. Although Muslims are overwhelmingly the majority, Indonesia is not an Islamic confessional state, but is founded on the concept of Pancasila and the 5 principles enshrined in the Constitution: faith in one supreme God, just and civil humanity, democracy guided by wisdom, social justice, which guarantees freedom for all believers. So, in effect, Indonesia is a multi-religious and a multi-ethnic society, notwithstanding the fact that the majority of them, 90%, profess the Islamic faith. And I think that is something beautiful that is attractive to Pope Francis himself, as he is always encouraging a tolerance of faith, of diversity, of different cultures. The Catholic community has also benefited from this tolerance and has grown tremendously. There have been 2 apostolic journeys to Indonesia, Pope Paul VI in 1970 and Saint Pope John Paul II in 1989. He also visited Indonesia. I think this tolerance has contributed to cement the good relations between the church, Indonesian society, and Indonesian state, the government, and everyone has prospered as a result and developed more collaboration in terms of projects, particularly in the field of education and culture. The legal system of Indonesia still penalizes religious minorities in the case of laws of blasphemy and so forth. But in the main, I think everyone agrees that it is a model for our world. We know that our world is a very divided world today, along religious, along cultural lines. And this is not to say this is a perfect society, but definitely here's something that has worked for many years. The Catholic population that I was talking about has grown steadily over the years, since the 19th century, thanks to its ability also to inculturate the gospel in Indonesian society. Catholics today are about 3% of the population, and they continue to grow. Their presence is not homogeneous. On the other hand, there are the dioceses, several dioceses, the Diocese of Ende, Ruteni, and many others, Jakarta. So you have dioceses which have a lot of Catholic majority, and then there are areas where Catholics are a real minority. Despite being small in number, the church in Indonesia is a vibrant community with a vibrant lay faithful. And we did listen earlier on when the Holy Father was speaking to the religious and the catechists. Speaking off script, he told a story about his visit to Africa, where he was told by one of the presidents of a country that he was baptized. I think probably in a situation of danger. He was baptized by his own father, who was a catechist. And the Pope was illustrating to the audience this morning, earlier today, that everywhere he has gone on his visits, usually it is always first the catechists who are in the forefront, and then come the sisters, his words, and later the bishops and the priests. So it's the same thing in Indonesia. They have a very vibrant lay faithful community which plays an active role in the pastoral work of the church, as well as activities that pertain to the growth of the parishes, social encounters, projects, economic projects for the disadvantaged, and many religious priests, both men and women, are serving in many countries of the world as missionaries. The institutions of the church in Indonesia are well recognized and respected and appreciated for their social, health, and cultural, as well as educational role that they play. We know that the church is present in the public debate and has voiced its position on several important issues affecting Indonesian society, such as the death penalty and other social issues like the environment, combating all forms of fundamentalism, which would undermine the fabric upon which Indonesian society is built. We are still waiting for the Holy Father. In case you are joining us, the Holy Father is supposed to come anytime now to this Graha Muda complex, Graha Muda house, where he is going to meet the young people who belong to the Scholars Ocurantes movement, a movement that has spread all over the world. And he's going to listen to what they are doing and exchange some notes with them. It should be an interesting encounter indeed.
Welcome.
Cek. Selamat malam para hadirin dan adik-adik semua. Saya ingin menyampaikan kembali terkait dengan beberapa aturan yang harus kita ikuti bersama. Kami memohon bantuan tamu undangan, adik-adik dan para guru sekalian untuk mematikan ponsel sejenak selama acara berlangsung. Tidak diperbolehkan mengambil gambar karena akan ada fotografer resmi dan foto-foto tersebut akan dibagikan kepada tamu undangan. Nah, ketika Bapak Suci, Bapak Paus Fransiskus hadir, kita akan menyambutnya dengan seremoni hati seperti yang kita lakukan tadi. Dan poin yang paling penting adalah hanya Bapak Ibu yang di belakang yang berdiri, adik-adikku dan guru yang ada di sini tetap duduk. Oke? Oke. Thank you. Terima kasih banyak. Check.
Holy Father, it's about to arrive. So we are going to start with the Hati ceremony. But first, I need to call Valentina. Valentina. Valen, please.
lebih keren.
So here we are again. The Holy Father had a delay. You know, when these things start, they have a life of their own. But no doubt, the Holy Father now arriving at Graha Muda house to begin his encounter with the young people of the Scholars of Corantes in Jakarta.
Para hadirin sekalian, dimohon untuk berdiri.
Holy Father, in good spirits, calm and collected, as he is welcomed to this hall, and he enters the polyhedron structure. That's the structure with many faces, a piece of art realized by the Scholars of Corantes community, here with the participation of 1,500 young people from literally all over Indonesia. And inside the polyhedron, we are told the Holy Father will look around and also perhaps leave a note in appreciation of what he has seen. So two of those are some of the artists who participated in creating this polyhedron structure that the Holy Father Pope Francis is admiring.
Francis yang terkasih, seperti yang telah dilakukan oleh banyak orang-orang yang berkolaborasi dalam karya ini.
So these are two artists explaining to Pope Francis what the work of art is all about.
Dari hati Indonesia untuk para pemuda di dunia.
And the Holy Father now is going to write something to express his appreciation for this structure that was created, a structure of art, by the young people of Indonesia. For those of you who just joined us, we did explain the Escuela Curantes is an international non-profit movement or organization created by the Holy Father himself in the year 2001 when he was still the Archbishop of Buenos Aires. It has grown to over 190 countries, and what they do is they try and encourage young people into what is known as the culture of the encounter. This is done by engaging the young people, most of them of university age, in education, art, and sport.
This is you.
No.
See.
And the Holy Father recognizing the young artist.
Minions.
They're explaining to him some of the art that is found in this polyhedron structure.
He's telling you that you remember Mafalda.
Oh, thank you.
You are Mafalda.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciating very much the culture, the piece of art.
Yes, I like it.
I think that is an experience the two young ladies will live to remember for a very long, long time. As the Holy Father Pope Francis now comes back to the main auditorium, and in the auditorium we are going to listen to a couple of testimonies. More pictures there. We can't exactly see what the Holy Father is doing or saying. Our view is obstructed by the camera people there. But anytime now, we will listen to a couple of testimonies from the young people of the Escuela Curantes, and no doubt the Holy Father Pope Francis will have something to say to them as well. There are 300 people altogether in this auditorium, 200 of them young people. The rest are collaborators and leaders and animators. All is set now. Pope Francis taking his chair from the wheelchair and walking to the main chair where to listen to what the young people are going to say to him. Many of the young people actually sitting on the ground.
Selamat datang sekali lagi. Selamat datang Bapak Suci Paus Fransiskus. Bapak Suci Paus Fransiskus disambut dengan bahagia dan hangat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua.
Welcome ceremonies, welcoming the Holy Father, greeting some of the animators and leaders of the Ocurantes with the babies there, the children.
Selamat datang kepada para tamu istimewa yang sudah berada di belakang kita dan juga para guru-guru, siswa-siswi kita tercinta yang berada di tengah-tengah kita. Tepuk tangan buat adik-adik sekalian.
No doubt words of welcome there.
Bapak Suci Paus Fransiskus, saya ingin memperkenalkan diri.
That will be the first testimony.
Saya seorang guru di pulau kecil Buton, Provinsi Sulawesi Tenggara. Sangat jauh dari Jakarta. Saya juga adalah seorang dosen, seorang fasilitator anak, dan seorang penyiar radio, serta seorang ibu.
Pope Francis, I love the work of education because of the calling. I found an educational foundation in my city. From there,
vorrei fare tante cose nella mia vita, particolarmente nel campo dell'educazione.
Masih ada satu peran lagi, wait a moment. Hari ini bukan hanya sekedar sebuah pengalaman bagi saya, namun sebuah transformasi luar biasa. Kali pertama dalam hidup saya mengunjungi, masuk dan menjadi bagian dalam katedral.
Oggi ho sperimentato una cosa, non è semplicemente un'esperienza, ma è un'esperienza che mi trasforma.
she is speaking about a transformative experience that she has experienced in the cathedral today.
Bagian dalam katedral sebuah gereja yang disucikan
And
Katolik.
definitely
Ajaibnya, tepat
emotional.
di depan saya berdiri pula masjid tempat saya biasanya beribadah. Ini merupakan simbol toleransi di mana perbedaan seharusnya kita hadapi dan kita jembatani.
È un culto, luogo di culto dei cattolici molto santo.
She is a volunteer and at these Escolas Ocurantes.
Come il culto, luogo di culto della mia religione. Questo è un simbolo della tolleranza.
And she's speaking about the tolerance that she has received.
Dan ketika bersama Skolas juga mengajarkan toleransi yang sama seperti yang diajarkan oleh Islam.
Ho imparato la tolleranza
I have learned
della mia religione.
tolerance from my religion, and the Escolas Ocurantes teaches me tolerance.
Skolas dalam pedagogikalnya, kurikulumnya melatih saya untuk melihat dunia dari pinggir jalan, rakyat miskin kota, anak-anak yang haus sekolah,